As a professional who's worked in almost 30 countries and 5 continents, I can tell you that one of the things I've always tried to avoid is travel stress and just stress in general. And if you're looking to go global soon, I would give you the same advice. Avoid stress of any kinds. And today's video is going to help you understand how you can do that in your global journey ahead. So if you are looking to study abroad in near future, today's video is for you. So make sure you stick around. Hello and namaste, my name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going to be talking about the first step that actually most people miss, but that they should be taking when they are starting their journey abroad. The basis of this video has obviously been your comments, a lot of DMs on Instagram, a lot of messages here and there, a lot of emails, and I realized that this is something that really needs to be said to the community overall. So let's first take a step back and see how you can pursue a global career. That can be in two ways, study route or work route. Now, study route is something that I always recommend for people who want an organic integration into an economy. You guys know I personally wanted to do an MBA myself when I first moved to Canada. The pandemic happened and my plans kind of went haywire, but that's a goal that I still have my eyes set on and I want to do it at some point. That's because I personally believe that I'm going to learn so much more about the economy here and get a more organic integration into the network and the professional community. I also felt like I needed some personal workup with my education, and so I thought MBA here would be a great choice. And clearly it's not just me thinking this, because if you look at the rising demand of student visa in countries like India or other parts of the world, you'll be surprised that this has been soaring for quite some time now. And the biggest pain point that most applicants have is that they've not thought about the visa process at all. Now think of it, if you have to do a domestic travel, don't you book your flights or your train ticket or your hotels, wherever you're going to stay, all of that in advance to get a better deal on it? We all do that, right? But that's not a thought that has somehow translated to the visa system. That's not how we think of visas for some reason, which has never made sense to me. So in my opinion, if you're thinking about step one, which is as important as doing applications, is figuring out your visa situation. Otherwise, you can get an admission letter from the best of a university, you can get some amazing scholarships, but without a visa or a visa that you get timely, you might never make it there. So if you are thinking about an organic integration into any economy and considering the study route, I would say start thinking about visas the moment you start thinking about what university you're going to apply into, what scholarship you'll target, etc. This will help you with wholesome planning and eradicate stress out of different levels so that you can focus on doing your study applications in different universities and target all the amazing scholarships and bursaries and aids that you have been targeting. And you don't have to look any further for that. Today's video is in collaboration with VFS Global, and I'm glad to have gotten their inputs in making this video. Okay, so let's talk about why is planning for visa important and why do we have a whole video about it? Well, first of all, the biggest reason why we're talking about this is it's really going to help you save some costs. How, you ask? Well, there's going to be a domino effect if you don't get your visa on time. If you don't get your visa on time, you can't plan for your flight tickets when you're going to book them. You can't plan for your accommodation. You can't plan for local transportation. You can plan for nothing. Now imagine this. If you get your visa way in advance of when you're supposed to leave, you can book your flight tickets and get it at better costs. You can also look up an accommodation which fits your budget and also your requirement. You might want to stay close to the university. You might not want to stay in the university dorm. You might want to stay far away from the university. You might want to stay in a place where you're saving on transport, etc. This may not happen if you're too rushed and towards the end of it. If you get your visa right before you leave, you'll end up paying a hefty price for your flight tickets. You'll also not get an accommodation that you want, especially at a price that you would want. And in my personal opinion, it will also create a lot of stress about whether you're going to get the visa or not, because student visa rejections do happen and it is discouraging. Now keep in mind, when you take an acceptance letter, you do pay a deposit to the college or the university wherever you're applying. In most cases, this deposit is refundable if your visa does not go through. But that's just not the stress that I would want to go through. As somebody who's lived on a visa, I can tell you this with complete certainty, that you just won't be able to plan your life if your visa does not come on time. So really, when does one start planning about the student visa? Well, I would say as soon as you can. Once you've narrowed down which part of the world you want to go and study in, please go and check their visa requirements, check what kind of student visa would apply to you. If you're going in for an apprenticeship, that could involve a separate visa. If you're going in really as a student, could involve a separate visa. So try to do this as early as possible, because this will also help you narrow down the universities that you're targeting in the different parts of the world that you want to be. Also keep in mind, every country has a separate rule about how and when they issue a visa. Most countries are fine if you apply it 90 days before you plan to move. I'm sure at this point you're like, oh, if every country has its own rule, what's the point of reading up different visa processes and learning all of it when I don't even know where I'm going to get an admission and I don't even know where I'm going to apply for a visa. So here's the thing. It's true that every country has a separate rule about its student visa, but most of them have certain things that they all need in common, which is the standard documentation, like getting your passport together, your health records, all your degree certificates that you might have, your work experience. Get the basic stuff together and organize so that the only tweak that you're going to make at the end of it when you're applying for the visa is just the basic nuanced thing that a particular country might require. Also, if an embassy or a consulate is running their administrative process through VFS, you can make an appointment to get a visa there on the VFS website. It's completely free to do, very transparent process. So you can just go and visit the VFS Global website for that particular country and get yourself an appointment. And because I've mentioned VFS Global a couple of times, I do want to mention what is it that they do in the whole visa process. So VFS Global manages all the non-judgmental and administrative tasks that come with this whole process. It's not just for visas, it's also for citizens living outside of a particular country. And because the consulate and embassy has been able to outsource all the admin stuff to VFS Global, they can focus on the real important task, which is, deciding if a visa needs to be granted, looking into citizens' matters, etc. So yes, VFS Global manages all the admin tasks and processes all applications that they receive in one business day. There could be delays to this timeline due to, say, travel requirement, etc., but all of this info is on their website. When it comes to a visa, VFS Global is not the one taking the decision. It's always the embassy and the consulate that's deciding, but they do assist you by helping you get appointments, which are completely for free. They also send you a full checklist for all the documents that you need to carry for your visa interview. I've personally used their service a couple of times and never ever had a bad experience. The typical turnaround time for every visa varies from country to country, consulate to consulate, embassy to embassy. It really depends on the visa officer, the one who's taking the decision. A smart thing to do here would be avoiding applying your visa in peak season so that you can avoid the rush. Try to avoid an off-peak seasons, and that can get you a more expedited and smoother experience. So in short, this is not something that you can do, this is something that you must do. On that note, this video has come to an end. I hope that I was able to share my personal experience along with all the insights that I've gotten from the VFS Global team to help you understand why acting upon your visas timely is supremely important. I'll make sure to leave more info about VFS Global in the description box below. Also, a lot more info about what is it that they do, what is it that they can help you with, and some generic stuff about student visas in general. If you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and I promise to see you in the next video. Until then, you take care of yourself. Stay safe. Namaste.